All right, so let's start this broadcast with some breaking news input that have just come in, where a Japan Airlines plane, remember, went up in flames on the runway of Tokyo's Haneda airport on Tuesday after reportedly colliding with a Coast Guard aircraft, which also was on the runway at the time. Now, the Japanese public broadcaster NHK has reported that all 367 passengers on board the Airbus plane were evacuated safely. However, 5 people on the Japan Coast Guard plane at this moment are said to be unaccounted for after the collision. This is the latest bit of detail that has just come in, and images showed the Airbus jet moving along the runway before orange flames burst from beneath it and also from behind it. The reports also said that the plane had just arrived from the Sapporo airport on the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido. The television footage in Japan shows the plane that was completely engulfed by flames, and flames were even coming out of the windows and the plane's nose while it was on the ground. There was burning debris on the runway, and at least about 70 fire engines were deployed. The Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has instructed the relevant agencies to assess the damage pretty swiftly and to provide information to the public. Now, Japan has not suffered a serious commercial aviation accident in decades. Its worst ever commercial aviation accident was way back in 1985. when a Japan Airlines jumbo jet flying from Tokyo to Osaka had crashed in central Gunma region. 520 passengers and crew had lost their lives in the mishap. The 1985 disaster was one of the world's deadliest plane crashes involving a single flight. Now, with respect to the passenger plane, all 379 passengers and the crew members on the Japan Airline plane managed to escape following a collision with the Coast Guard aircraft at Tokyo's Haneda airport. Now, 5 of the 6 crew of the Coast Guard aircraft at this moment are said to have died. This is something that's been reported by the Japanese public broadcaster NHK. The Coast Guard has said that the collision involved one of its planes that was headed to Niigata airport in Japan's west coast to deliver aid to those who were caught in the aftermath of a powerful earthquake that had struck Japan just yesterday, in which at least about 48 people had been killed. So this is the latest in terms of what has happened with respect to that plane that went up in flames in a pretty bizarre fashion, where, remember, the accident happened when a passenger plane, which is of the Japan Airlines, crashed into a Coast Guard plane that was also on the runway at the time that the passenger plane of the Japan Airlines touched ground. And according to reports that have come in, at least 5 of the 6 crew members of the Coast Guard aircraft have died. This is the latest update in terms of what's in fact unfolded in this tragedy. But with respect to the passenger plane, all 379 members who were on board the flight at the time have managed to escape, and there have been no reports of any casualties or injuries with respect to the passengers on the passenger aircraft. But with respect to the other plane with which this passenger plane collided, 5 of the 6 crew members of the Coast Guard are said to have been killed in this horrific accident that took place a few hours ago on the runway of the Haneda airport in Tokyo. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.